Whatcha? Boom! Kung Fu, baby! Kung Fu Panda is easily one of the most recognizable animations to ever come out, having multiple movies, a TV show, and even some games apparently that I had never really heard about, so not totally sure how well those did. Anyways, the point that I'm getting at here is that it was a great success and basically everyone knew about it. But like Master Oogway once said, with great success comes some great shit. And today, we're diving straight into the poop. Now, by just taking a quick look at this movie's poster, I think you can pretty much already tell that this is going to be a pretty interesting experience, to say the least, which can also be confirmed by just taking a quick look at the IMDb page. Now, just to give you guys a basic gist of the story, it's about a panda named Panda who works at a boxing club, but he doesn't really like boxing all too much. He thinks it's way too violent, so instead of becoming a professional boxer, he decides to become a professional dancer. Alright folks, so I hope you got your $1 bills ready because... What the hell? Yeah, it's not that kind of dancer. So it's not a stripper panda is what you're telling me.
Why am I even watching this movie?
So anyways, if the plot kind of sounded familiar, that's because it's basically just the entire plot to Kung Fu Panda 1. But instead of working at a ramen shop, he now instead works at a boxing club. And instead of wanting to become a dragon warrior, he now wants to become a boogie warrior. Now, unfortunately, they don't actually call him the boogie warrior, but they should have. They fucking should have, because that is a sick title. But now that you guys know the basic premise of the story, I think it's just time to dive straight into it, because this movie gets pretty crazy. Now, the movie starts out with our protagonist Panda, who is just seen daydreaming away before being absolutely ruthlessly assaulted by his boss, Mr. Polaris.
Stop the daydreaming, Panda. That floor ain't gonna mop itself, you know.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Polaris.
Honestly, that's pretty messed up, man. He could have easily just broken his neck and turned him into the wheelchair warrior. Also, yes, his boss's name is Mr. Polaris, and he's a polar bear. Truly Breaking Bad levels of writing here. So anyways, he tells his boss that he's really sorry and that it won't happen again, so naturally in the next scene, we see him daydreaming again. Why does he look so satisfied with it? I don't know, maybe it's me, but whenever I daydream about failing miserably, I don't usually get a smile on my face.
Alright, so what'd you guys think?
That shit was ass. My grandma could do better. She's dead.
Are you serious? I worked 12 years on that.
Yeah, well, I needed another 100.
Now he gets pulled out of his daydreaming once again, this time by a waitress named Beth, which, not to give any spoilers here, but Panda might have a little bit of a crush on. So we cut to fight night, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. And this is where we get introduced to our main antagonist of the movie, Freak Teddy, which is another awesome name. And Freak Teddy is seen facing off against an opponent called Sweet Bear. If you could even really call it a face-off, because Sweet Teddy gets absolutely destroyed.
I'm afraid we have all too clear an answer, folks.
But apparently it's been like this for around 2 years now, where Freak Teddy just absolutely demolishes the competition and nobody really buys tickets to the fight anymore, because it's basically like watching Mike Tyson beat up a 4th grader, which, hey, I'm pretty sure some people would definitely buy tickets for. You just gotta find the right market. So we get back to the boxing club where Mr. Polaris is seen sitting at a table with someone called Mr. Grizzlepuss. I love how you have these super basic names like Beth and then just throw in someone like Mr. Grizzlepuss. But Mr. Polaris isn't too happy with Mr. Grizzlepuss because Mr. Polaris really wants to get into the ring himself and fight Freak Teddy, but apparently it's inside of his contract that he's not allowed to, and if he were to do that, he'd lose the boxing club. So I guess Mr. Grizzlepuss is more like Mr. Grizzlepussy because he's a bitch! So Panda leaves the boxing club to go to his dance teacher, Master Jin, who is an absolute horror by the sight of Panda's dance moves. Now, the teacher, having seen these terrible moves by Panda, figures that something is probably really wrong with him, so instead of having a dance class, they instead turn it into like a little therapy session. So they get to talking about what's gotten him down, and it turns out he really likes the waitress at the boxing club, Beth. But he has the feeling that she doesn't really notice him and just kind of sees him as a fat panda loser. So he asks Master Jin for advice.
To make a woman notice you, you must show her you value loyalty. Loyalty? Loyalty? How so? Show that I'm like sincere and be a Mr. Dependable dude and stuff like that? Yes, that's all good and fine. But you must also show her that loyalty has value. Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah. You're talking about the value of money, right?
The way that Pancata talks about this just really reminded me of those pickup artists who like try to sell you a course on how to pick up women.
You gotta be a Mr. Dependable dude.
Huh. You got no coin? You're not getting the join. But yeah, probably not the best move to assume that the girl that you're into is just a gold digger. Now, because Mr. Polaris isn't allowed to get into the ring himself, he comes up with the genius idea to just put on a disguise and join the competition as the Great Bear of Mystery. Again, another awesome name, by the way. That's a great name. However, the disguise first needs to be put into the washing machine because it kind of smells like an order of chicken and broccoli with a side order of feet. That's not even me making a joke, by the way. That's actually just what Pancata says.
Something smells like an order of chicken and broccoli with a side order of feet.
So he puts the suit in the washing machine and turns it on, but now the washing machine is kind of like dandling around a little bit. And I guess Pancata gets really inspired by this because he just straight up busts out some crazy moves.
Someone down there?
So the waitress makes her way downstairs wondering what the hell all the noise is about. So Pancata does the one thing that naturally every single guy does to the girl that he likes. He lies to her. He basically just tells her that he was actually just doing some martial arts down there, and this might not seem like an important thing now, but this is about to change the whole trajectory of the entire story. Now, a couple hours pass, and I guess word just travels insanely quickly in this world because there is already a newspaper being delivered about the fight happening with even a picture of Mr. Polaris in it. So Mr. Polaris asks Pancata for his disguise, but this makes Pancata realize that he actually never took it out of the washing machine. When he gets it out, it is kind of
shrunk a little bit.
Even though in the newspaper he was already wearing the shrunken suit, that is some express delivery shit. So now Mr. Polaris is inside of the ring, but of course now that the costume has shrunk a little bit, it kind of makes him look like a panda. Kind of. Not really. But because everyone is stupid, now everyone thinks that it's actually Pancata that's up there in the ring fighting Freak Teddy.
Oh, I don't believe it. Could it be? It looks like Pancata.
I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm just having a little bit of a hard time seeing the resemblance here.
Just one round in and Teddy is already taking a licking. Who would have thought a panda like this could have such fancy footwork?
What footwork? He has quite literally not moved a single inch this entire time. To be fair, he does have some sick defense, but there was no footwork in play here. Speaking of footwork though, while this epic fight is happening, our boy Pancata is actually doing some footwork of his own. It's his movie, man. Is that even considered a dance move anymore? I feel like he just straight up missiled out of there. But Mr. Polaris ends up winning the fight with this crazy cool flip move. And Pancata ends up getting accepted into the academy, even though he really only got some mild criticisms, like he kind of overreached a little bit at the end, which might be a little bit of an understatement. Honestly, I feel like only one of the judges wasn't on crystal meth because she basically kind of said that he sucked.
His enthusiasm really speaks to me.
I'll admit that his form at the early part of the dance really dazzled me.
I have to disagree. I found the whole thing smarmy and half-baked.
Which, I mean, not to be a hater, but I mean, wasn't that good. Now, obviously, everyone still thinks that it was actually Pancata who beat Freak Teddy, so everyone is like super impressed by him. But obviously, he doesn't know this. He just thinks that somehow everyone managed to see his dance recital in secret, which is honestly pretty sad. But anyways, he makes his way over to the boxing club where there's a little surprise waiting for him.
Wow. Maybe they really did see me dancing and I didn't know it.
No, I got time. Behind you, behind you, behind you!
Oh my god! Wow! Hey, what's all this for? Whoa, dude, that totally rocks!
Finally! Now, I don't know who thought that it would be a good idea to just include the walk there. Honestly, you know what? No, I take it back. It was a good idea. I mean, it made me laugh, and I feel like it kind of adds to the whole fever, dreamy feeling, so it was a good idea. But anyways, he does finally make it to the boxing club, where they have like these banners laid out for him, which say, Para ben spankada. Torcemos por você. I probably butchered the hell out of that. I'm so sorry. Which basically translates to, congratulations Pancada, we're rooting for you. And honestly, that's probably the craziest thing about this entire thing. The fact that it might have a Portuguese version out there as well. Also, Beth quite literally just throws herself at him now because I guess she sees him now as some sort of Mr. Dependable dude. Even giving him like a little kiss. But sadly, all of that was about to change because of something called
Reality.
Yeah, and my audition piece was awesome. I mean, isn't that what everyone's talking about?
You mean? You thought I was really talking about... I thought I was going crazy. Sorry, kid. Ain't that a kick in the head? You see, kid, I guess I really didn't know what you were talking about.
So Mr. Polaris hits Pancada with the cold hard truth, making him realize that no one actually really cared about his dancing at all and that it was basically just a big misunderstanding. So he ends up having another therapy session with his dancing teacher, Master Jin, and it basically ends with him telling Pancada that the waitress deserves to know the truth and he either needs to become a boxer and fight or just tell her the truth that it was all a big misunderstanding. So like any fat dancing panda would do, he decides to get into the ring with a professional boxer. We do get this epic Rocky type training montage of Pancada, but it goes on for way too long. They even got the little running up the stairs scene in there. Now, I'm not too sure about Pancada being battle ready quite yet, because all that he's really managed to do is some measly little sit-ups and deflect some punches. But when in doubt, who better to turn to than his dancing teacher, Master Jin, for some encouragement.
You made me proud, Pancada. You have become a champion fighter. I believe that whether you come out a winner or take a horrible bloody beating.
Maybe I shouldn't try to be a fighter after all.
I mean, come on. If that doesn't fill you with hope, then nothing will. So the big moment finally arrives. Pancada versus Freak Teddy. The fight that gives the Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier fight a complete run for its money.
Hey, kid, you're not on one of those shake diets, are ya?
He'll be shaking tonight.
It's time for all of Pancada's hard training to finally pay off, and...
Ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't seem possible, but could Pancada be KO'd in the first round?
Okay, so we got a lucky hit on Pancada, right? It's round one. Doesn't really matter. He's just gonna get back up again and show Freak Teddy...
Oh, there goes my other eye. Oh, time out. Oh, somebody get him off of me.
Okay, so he's getting absolutely destroyed. But just like an epic anime scene where all the hope seems lost, Pancada thinks back on his master's words.
Remember, if you fight like you dance, you can never go wrong.
Hold on, folks. Something's happening. It looks like Pancada's had a burst of energy. Perhaps this was his strategy all along.
Yeah, so he gets knocked out and Freak Teddy ends up winning the fight. Pancada, having now messed up the fight, feels really guilty about not just letting Mr. Polaris go in there and beat Freak Teddy, so he goes to his office to apologize. But then a twist in the story gets unraveled that even M. Night Shyamalan himself would not even see coming.
But you just don't understand, kid. Everybody out there thought you were gonna flatten Teddy Thunders for sure.
I know. I was a big tubby disappointment.
Of course, knowing Teddy Thunders, I knew that would be impossible. So that's why I placed all my bets on Teddy.
So that means you're...
rich! In fact, I'm about the richest man in the whole city.
What a twist!
Now that's how you do a scam, baby. Honestly, all of these YouTubers trying to come up with a new crypto coin scam, you should just be taking notes from Mr. Polaris because he is a scam artist. Now Mr. Grizzlepus finally figures out that something isn't quite right with the situation, so he goes to Mr. Polaris' office to go and confront him. But I guess Mr. Polaris used his money for some NASA fighter jet, because in the next scene he's already seen in Antarctica. Now I'm not too sure why he'd need all that money just to move somewhere that's completely deserted. I mean, this doesn't really look like the type of place you'd find like a shopping mall in or anything. But I mean, good for him, I guess. But now that Mr. Polaris is gone, obviously the boxing club is going to have new management, and who is a better choice than our own boy, Panda? That's our boy.
Yeah, you're yanking my fur again, ain't ya?
That has got to be one of the scariest things that I have ever seen in my entire life. He looks like a complete and utter psychopath. But anyways, that's also where the movie concludes, and I mean, wow, what an experience. Is this a good movie? No. Would I recommend it? Honestly, strangely enough, yes, I would. Honestly, this movie is so completely absurd and just feels like a complete fever dream that if you like bad movies, this is a great one. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!